Good evening and welcome to the season opener of TGP2 Season 35, where you join us for rounds 1 and 2 with me, Mr. Chappelli, and Wet-Lemonz. Season 34 was a thriller, and as is mostly the case in TGP2, it went down to the wire. In the end, Lewis Craig was crowned Drivers' Champion and McLaren won the Constructors' titles. Lewis Craig, Daniel P. Wheelnut and Jack Craig return for this season. They will be the favourites for the title in Season 35, but will we see a new challenger in the likes of Dan Morris or maybe someone else who can give them favourites a run for their money? As I mentioned earlier, joining me in the commentary box tonight is Wet-Lemonz. We're pairing up again for the season opener, almost becoming the residents of TGP2 commentary box as well. So, a warm welcome, and it's going to be reasonably decent weather from what I understand compared to the UK, where we've got quite stormy weather at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, so we've got a nice dry qualifying session here, and I'm just running on board with Lewis Craig, who's currently running in P4 in this one-shot qualifying. But we do have a returning driver in Theo Hickman, who's making a push with P2, and Dan Morris looking like he's on for his first pole.
Indeed it is. So just to give you a quick rundown as to the format that we're running this season, we've got one-shot qualifying for all rounds here. 35% races, as we see IoT Kaya retire from the session there. Maybe he got taken out. Oh, no, it's because he went across the grass. Sorry, we are on board with them. Apologies. 35% races. Safety car will be on, but red flags will be off. So plenty to look at here in terms of strategy with that 35% distance, and also the safety car can play a major role when it comes to the strategy and bringing people back into the game who might not have. Oh, go on.
It just looks like Lewis Craig's binned it a little bit. He's down in 11th place.
As we're just on board with Dan Morris, had a major swapper going into the final corner there. Has dropped down to 5th. That means Theo Hickman takes pole position, a 118.3. Only narrowly pipping second place there. I didn't quite catch it on the screen because I was concentrating on where Dan Morris was going to end up. He ends up 5th. He's going to be gutted about that, considering that he was running first throughout that whole thing. But yeah, we'll quickly run through your order here. So Theo Hickman takes pole position there with the 118.3, and Jack Craig, oh my goodness, look at that gap, 1/100th of a second, in second place there with Daniel P. Wheelnut in third, 1.5 tenths behind. And then we've got Sheck Wace in fourth, Dan Morris, disappointing for him in fifth, Mayor Quemby in sixth, M. Shep in seventh, Jack in eighth, Saya Sports in ninth, and Red Bull Kim returning for this season. 3.9 seconds down on the pace, it rounds out your top 10, and as also the final finishes there, as Kaya had that moment and he retired from the session in 11th, Lewis Craig in 12th, Paul McGee in 13th, Mr. John rounds out your order in 14th there with the disqualification. But yes, so it's already shaping up to be a bit of a mix-up in the order here. As I mentioned, we've got that safety car that could come out, and with the contact that we tend to see in these races, I'd imagine it's going to come out as well. So drivers are really going to have to be careful here and really going to have to take advantage and play the strategy game, aren't they?
Yeah, it's going to be really important to see who goes for which strategy. The medium tyres here seem to be the better one. I think most started on that at the beginning of last season. Lewis Craig, the reigning champion, getting a bit unlucky there, getting a invalidated lap and not being able to set a time. So he'll be wanting to get some overtakes done in these first few laps and see if he can make a challenge to the likes of Dan Morris, Theo Hickman and Daniel Wheelnut out front.
Indeed, so we're going to have to see what tyres the drivers are starting on, whether they'll start with the mediums or the softs, or if somebody's going to be very adventurous, start with the hards. But yeah, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights down under here in Melbourne for the season opener of TGP2 Season 35, and lights out, away they go, and Theo Hickman, Jack Craig and Daniel P. Wheelnut all seem to get off to a good start there. All seems to be line astern as they're coming into here, and Theo Hickman keeps the lead there from Jack Craig, and Sheck Wace has got up to third now, Daniel P. Wheelnut in fourth, Mayor Quemby in fifth. We've had a couple of changes of the order back there with Lewis Craig making it up to ninth, but relatively clean all the way through into turn 4 here.
Yeah, they've all got away really cleanly, and there's a few overtakes still happening going through this section, but all drivers are just wanting to keep it clean, get through this first lap, and maybe go for some more overtakes into the next few laps. But Czech-Weiss is right on the back of Jack Craig here, and he is going to look to make a move maybe down this straight. But at this moment in time, it's not really the corner you want to be making any like last-minute decisions to dive down the inside at.
No, indeed, it's yeah. Oh
And
my
he's just
goodness,
gone wide.
Czech-Weiss is well off the track there. Not sure what happened there. Maybe he just got too much onto the curbs, but that has seriously ruined his start there. And we've got Meir Quemby. Sorry, yeah. And M-Shep's round. M-Shep is round. I think he was trying to move up the inside of Czech-Weiss there, and he has gone for a spin. Hopefully, he's not got too much damage in contact with him and his fellow rival that he was trying to overtake there. So that's an unfortunate start for him. And it looks like Czech-Weiss also having a bit of a moment into the final corner there, and he is going from bad to worse there. Currently still holding fifth, luckily, but he's 1.1 seconds behind Meir Quemby here, who looks very racy behind Daniel P. Wheelnut. Can he do anything here going into the into this corner? We've got a Mercedes
Looking more like Dan Morris.
Yeah, I'm not sure what this Mercedes is. Have I got a glitch on my screen here?
It's Dan Morris just in behind Meir Quimby in 5th place, and he's just following really closely, and is looking for a move about now, because he's right on the gearbox of Meir Quimby, but he's got the soft tyres on. Meir Quimby is running the medium tyres, so that might explain the superior grip that is coming Dan Morris's way right now.
Right, understood, yeah. So, sorry, I did have a glitch on my screen where it said Dan Morris was down in 14th, 1 minute behind the rest of the pack, but that's not the case. He's actually managed to get past Meir Quimby now. After that ghosting, we've got quite a bit of lag from him, so maybe that's the issue here. Czech-Weiss gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. That's unfortunate for him, as we go back to the front here with Jack Craig all over the back of Theo Hickman now. Jack Craig wanting to take the fight to him, as we're going to have DRS activated on lap 3. We're having a few 3-second time penalties here for corner cutting already, so the drivers really having to be careful and need to don't do the crime, basically, because otherwise that is going to completely ruin your races. Jack Craig takes the fastest lap of the race now, and will he be able to make a move down into turn 4 here? We're going to go on board with him. He's coming up to him. Don't think he's got enough legs, though, so he's going to have to wait and bide his time here, Sean.
Yeah, he's doing well here. He's keeping with Theo Hickman, and they've made a little bit of a gap to Dan Morris and that little pat behind. So it's lap 3. DRS will be activated, and into this next section he'll be looking at a move potentially, as he is only 2.5 tenths behind roughly. Yeah, I'm not currently sure what his thought process is. I'll try and see. He has got about half of his DRS at this moment, and he's not really burning it.
He looks like he's going for it, but he's not doing it at the moment. We're going to have to go back here because we've got a massive gaggle here stuck behind Daniel P. Wheelnut, the cork in the bottle. He's not able to get past his fellow rival Dan Morris because of the DRS, but it looks like there could be a DRS train here forming behind Daniel P. Wheelnut, if Daniel P. Wheelnut can stay within DRS of Dan Morris. Dan Morris too far back from Jack Craig at the moment, but he is on some decent pace here on those soft tyres as well. So will he be able to take the fight to Jack Craig and Theo Hickman here? Time will tell. Lewis Craig still down in 8th place. He's gained a place since our last reported on him, but he now is on the back of Neljak. Can he work his way up here to recover from that bad qualifying?
Yeah, it looks like he's done what he's needed to do at the minute, kept out of trouble, and he's burnt a little bit of the ARS, and he's around 2 tenths behind Neljak at this minute, and he needs to really get by because Neljak is losing time to this pack in front, and that has now, Dan Morris has closed the gap to get DRS potentially on this lead too, and we could see a fight all the way down to 6th place for this.
Are we going to have a DRS train all the way down to 6th places? We're going to go on board here with Jack Craig. Looks to be much closer than before on Theo Hickman. He seems to be trying to stay out of the slipstream for some reason. I'm not sure on that. Maybe he's just biding his time as he's coming into the chicane. We've got some moves there from Lewis Craig up to 7th place now ahead of Neljak. He's now released. Is Jack Craig going to make the move here? He's going to the No, he's going to stay back. I thought he was going to try and dive it up the inside at the last minute, but not doing at the moment. Maybe just biding his time, knowing he's on those medium tyres compared to Theo Hickman, and playing the long game here, trying to push himself along a bit, but how much time will he be losing as we have a yellow flag in Sector 3 for something that seems to have gone relatively quickly. So maybe a driver going slightly wide there But yeah, it seems to be that the fight is currently for first and second at the moment. Dan Morris has dropped off a bit. Daniel P. Wheelnut seems to just be staying within DRS, and Czech Race has dropped off as well there, Sean.
Yeah, Czech Race actually having recovered from his earlier incident of running wide. He's not doing too bad, but that penalty will obviously affect him at the end. Dan Morris is managing just to keep a second to Daniel Wheelnut, so he might be able to keep pulling away at this current rate, and Lewis Craig is going to want to be making some moves on Czech Weiss so that he can challenge for the win.
Indeed, yeah, so it seems to have settled down a little bit at the front there. Obviously, Jack Craig still within that DRS zone, but not as close as he was before. And we do have some drivers going side by side here. Lewis Craig up to 5th position now, ahead of Czech Weiss. He is recovering well on those medium tyres. Maybe the soft runners are starting to lose a bit of grip now, coming into lap 5 of this race. Lap 6 almost now. And Lewis Craig on the hunt. Can he work his way up to the podium here? He's got Daniel P. Wheelnut ahead of him, who's not going to give him an easy time. Dan Morris and Jack Craig and Theo Hickman currently setting good pace in this race as well, so I'm not sure if he's going to be able to penetrate that, but we'll soon see. As Jack Craig now behind Theo Hickman onto the back straight as they're coming into lap 6, and he is gaining, and he's still staying behind. I don't know what he's staying behind for, because surely he's losing pace here, Sean.
Yeah, I think he is, and the tyres, having, like you said, are coming up.
He's going for a move. Around the outside. Sorry, he's going for around the outside. Is there going to be enough room for Theo Hickman? They're banging wheels. They're almost interlocking, and Jack Craig still can't get the move done there, and that brings Dan Morris right into the mix on those soft tyres. Mayor Quimby gets a 3-second time penalty, but we're not bothered about that at the moment, as Dan Morris is now pushing Jack Craig here through that small chicane, coming onto this DRS zone. DRS zone 2.
No.
Out of the 3, he's going to go for it. He's going to go for it off the inside. And Jack Craig, and oh my goodness, the lag! What is happening? The lag is causing major incidents here. And Czech Race disqualified.
Yeah. I went on board with Mayor Quimby when that penalty happened, and he were alongside Czech Weiss off the track, and they've just had a little coming together, and Czech Weiss were driving the wrong way down the track, so he's been disqualified from the session.
Oh no, and Dan Morris has just taken out Theo Hickman from his lag. Dan Morris has just come across Theo Hickman, and the lag has just created carnage with him. Theo Hickman now, not sure what the damage is on him, as we're still sticking with this front fight here.
Jack Craig!
Jack Craig is retired. I think he tried to come into the pits.
He's on the start-finish straight, and he's just retired by the looks of it. I can't see if he's crashed or anything.
What has happened here?
It could have been. Is it the pit entry it's quite tight, so he might have gone into the wall as he's come in.
Oh my goodness. It's gone chaotic in the last 20 seconds on this lap. And we've now got Dan Morris leading the race, lagging on and off the track like crazy. Daniel P. Wheelnut 3.5 tenths behind. Lewis Craig has now got a 3-second time penalty here behind these two at the front. And he's going to be under threat from Neljak with that 3-second time penalty. We're going to go on board with Daniel P. Wheelnut here, because he seems to be going to make a move around Dan Morris. Hope the lag doesn't get him here. The medium tyre runner is going around the outside, and he seems to have the move done, but Dan Morris is coming back at him. Daniel P. Wheelnut is going to have to defend like crazy now as we go on board with Dan Morris. Daniel P. Wheelnut still has that DRS, and Dan Morris doesn't seem to have the pace at the moment. And Daniel P. Wheelnut looks to have got the job done for now, Sean.
Yeah, I'm just on board with Dan Morris, and he's just like pushing Wheelnut through these corners. So obviously, he still feels he's got the pace to be in the lead of this race. But the medium tyres are coming into it more and more each lap that goes by, and it's looking like Daniel Wheelnut, if he can hold off Dan Morris here, I think he's in a very good position after the pit stops.
Indeed, but there will be that undercut potential that Dan Morris could use, considering he's going to be naturally going onto the medium tyres. There will be a tyre offset with Daniel P. Wheelnut being on those soft tyres and being more racy, but he's going to have to get the move done as soon as he gets out of that pit lane. Otherwise, he's going to lose the tyre life come towards the end of the race. So, yeah, this lag is hard to watch, I'm not going to lie. So we don't really know if Dan Morris has made a mistake or not, so we're going to just have to basically track it and just see how it goes, I suppose. So let's go further down the field. We've got Mr. John down in 8th here, 7 tenths behind Paul McGee, who is now within DRS of Sayer Sports ahead of him, and maybe we're getting a bit of a DRS train forming here in the form of Sayer Sports. So let's keep an eye on that as Paul McGee's out. Paul McGee is retired.
Oh.
And there's a safety car.
I didn't see what happened. I'm just on board with Red Bull Kim, and I'll see if he comes past Paul McGee as he comes through this second section. But I think the car has already been removed.
What will Daniel P. Wheelnut do here? He must be on the cusp of the pit window for those mediums, but he can't switch to softs, I'd imagine, at this stage of the race. And Daniel P. Wheelnut is coming in.
Yeah,
Daniel P. Wheelnut's coming in. Dan Morris is coming in. Lewis Craig stays out. Lewis Craig stays out.
Oh, I think he second guessed himself because it looked like he tried to come into the pits like really last minute. He would have crossed the line and would have probably given him a penalty, but he's decided to stay out here. At this stage in the race, I think that is the wrong choice, I'm afraid. But
yeah, so Lewis Craig stays out, and the safety car has caught him now. Daniel P. Wheelnut comes into the pits, and that, I think, was the correct decision. He's gone on to he's gone on to the hard tyres. So Daniel P. Wheelnut on the hard tyres. Dan Morris, I think, on the hard tyres or medium tyres. I can't quite tell from this camera angle.
He's gone on to the medium tyres.
Yeah, so everybody either on the hards or the mediums. Mr. John on the hards as well. Red Bull Kim's coming into the pits now on those mediums. Probably going to switch them to hards as well. And Lewis Craig, the only driver not to pit. So this is going to be interesting. I wonder if he's going to think there's going to be a safety car later on in the race that he can take advantage of. But yeah, if it was me, and as you've said as well, I'd have come into the pits at this point.
Yeah. So now Daniel Wheelnut and Dan Morris, they've gone alternate strategies. So Daniel Wheelnut's gone on the hard tyres and Dan Morris has gone on to the mediums. I think on this game both tyres work pretty similarly. So towards the end I expect Daniel Wheelnut to have probably a bit more pace than Dan, but off the bat on this restart I expect Dan Morris, who's just spinning his tyres up, trying to get a bit of heat in I think at the minute, but like you said, that lag that we've been experiencing while on board or seeing Dan Morris, we can't really tell what's going off.
Yeah, indeed, and I know from commentating on CGP1 last season in Australia, the hard tyre runners in Australia did have a lot more tyre life than the medium runners come towards the end of the race. They really could take advantage of this. Obviously, there was no safety car there. Yeah. Lewis Craig now comes into the pits. He's now come into the pits. Why didn't he pit earlier? He would have had a massive jump. So he's gone double wrong here. Not sure why he's done this, because he's going to be at the back.
Yeah.
The cars are bunched up now. He's going to be at the back unless he can get in front of Red Bull Kim, who's 16 seconds behind. But still, I mean, what's going on?
Oh, it's a bizarre race, to be honest. We've had a disqualification and 2 retirements that we don't really understand what the issue was. So hopefully we can get that saved by the drivers and we can see the onboards later.
Yeah, hopefully. But that now obviously changes our order up to Daniel P. Wheelnut now, the one who's been caught up by the safety car and leading this race with Dan Morris behind. Neljak is recovering to 3rd here, with Theo Hickman making a recovery to 4th actually as well. So good for him, this safety car. Sayre Sports in 5th with Mr. John in 6th currently. Lewis Craig down in 7th. He could have been much higher if he hadn't pitted under the safety car. Red Bull Kim in 8th. Now, the pack is all caught up to each other, which is good. So I'd imagine safety car is going to be in this lap. M. Chef in 9th, Mayor Quemby in 10th, and IRT Kaya, the last of our current runners, in 11th place. So what I'd imagine now is that as Shek Races... Right, Shek Races last session, fair enough. I'd imagine now Daniel P. Wheelnut is probably going to be under threat from Dan Morris, given that Dan Morris is on the mediums, Neljak on the mediums as well, Theo Hickman on the mediums too. Safety car will be in this lap.
Dan, and then Mr. John's the next driver on the hard tyres. So Daniel Wheelnut's got a task on it this restart. Let's hope he can get the jump on this group, and he'll have to wait quite a while for this safety car to get into the pits. So let's see what he does here. He might see if he goes early or see if he leaves it as late as he possibly can, just to try and catch all of the other drivers out.
Yeah, so we're right on board here with Dan Morris, waiting to see when Daniel P. Wheelnut will jump to go. He's got to be careful. If he touches the back of that McLaren, he's going to have a penalty here, and he can't go jostling alongside like we were seeing in 2021 between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. When will Daniel P. Wheelnut make the jump? Is he going to leave it till the very last minute? Is he going to leave it till the start-finish line? It looks like he might do here. As no, he's jostling alongside now, so he needs to be careful that he doesn't jostle too much. As Daniel P. Wheelnut now makes the jump, and that has not worked out for him. Dan Morris is going to take him here. Dan Morris takes the lead in front of Daniel P. Wheelnut. Daniel P. Wheelnut has going around the outside here. They're giving enough room here, but that's not going to help them, as Neljak's going to get right into this as we see some changes of the orders further down. But Dan Morris now goes to the inside on Daniel P. Wheelnut and outbreaks him. As sorry, my camera's just changed again. What was that?
Daniel Wheelnut came on the switchback, but he didn't manage to get that move done, and he's just had to slot in behind now. And Theo Hickman managed to make an overtake on Neljak round the outside into the hairpin, and they're all running good, this top four, none of them with any penalties. So, and another safety car.
Yeah, I think I've just seen an accident. Mayor Quemby, I believe, possibly hit the wall there, and yeah, that's it. I don't know what is exactly going on here, but I thought I saw Mayor Quemby hitting the wall in the background there on the shot as we were watching Dan Morris and Daniel P. Wheelnut fighting. Yeah, my game's gone all strange again. Sorry.
Yeah,
it seems
no,
to be...
it's so Mayor Quimby is actually at the back of the pack, so it must have been an incident with him that you saw, and he's missing a right front end plate, so I expect him to come into the pits.
Okay, so we've got safety car again. Can't imagine anybody's going to pit here unless they've gone on the wrong tyres. I'd imagine maybe Mr. John might, if he feels that these hard tyres are not going to work for him. Daniel P. Wheelnut, if he had more of a gap, it would have been beneficial for him to go on the softs here. But that's not going to be the case. He's still on the back foot here on those hard tyres. And track position, obviously, quite important here. You don't want to be right at the back to have to fight your way up for these 8 laps. But yeah, safety car again, and I suppose we reset again, sure.
Yeah, so we've got M. Shet and Mayor Quimby in the pit, so maybe it was those two that had a little coming together. Hopefully everyone catches up to the back of this pack really quickly, and it might just be a one-lap safety car that we have. But now we have Dan Morris leading the safety car pack instead of Daniel Wheelnut.
Indeed, fingers crossed. So yeah, Dan Morris is now our current leader. Daniel P. Wheelnut in second. Theo Hickman now getting into the mix here in third place. Neljak in fourth. Losing a place there from the safety car start, as did Daniel P. Wheelnut as well. Say Sports in fifth. Lewis Craig gaining a position now, I think, because Mayor Quemby had that accident and went into the pit lane. So he's now up to sixth position. What can he do there from sixth position on those? He's on hard tyres as well. So he's going to be at a slight disadvantage at this start, but hopefully we'll have more tyre life come the end. M-Shep currently 10.5 seconds behind the safety car. I don't know if that warrants for the safety car to come in this lap. I don't think it's going to, considering we normally get told by the start of Sector 3 on these games. But so the safety car will be out for another lap at least. And yeah, I suppose really it's going to be just a sprint to the finish now, isn't it?
Yeah, obviously this second safety car has benefited the medium runners a lot more as they can extend the tyre life of their tyres and probably fight for longer. And I think pace-wise, this top four, they're all pretty even, so it'll be a good little fight between them. But obviously we've got one little tour of this circuit left, and hopefully we can get back racing.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I don't mind a safety car to try and spice up the action here, but too many safety cars. We don't want a repeat of Australia this year in the real calendar. Luckily, there's no red flags as well, so we don't have to be concerned about that. But yeah, it's all to play for when the safety car does come in, probably at the end of this lap. Can Daniel P. Wheelnut get the jump on Dan Morris like Dan Morris got the jump on him at the last safety car restart? We'll see. But obviously, him being on these hard tyres, he's going to have to keep him hot. He's going to have to keep him warm, and see if he can do anything, really. He's going to be under threat from Theo Hickman and Neljak behind. And yeah, he's just going to be at a disadvantage, unfortunately, for him. But yeah, anyway, let's see what the drivers can do here. Dan Morris is your leader currently. He is in the Mercedes there at the front on those medium tyres, looking racy. What's your opinion here? Do you think Dan Morris will just shoot off from the start?
I think with the medium tyres, if they have not won much at all, so he can get a good jump, and he might go for a different tactic to what we saw with Daniel Wheelnut, and he might go a little bit earlier. So we've got safety car in this lap. I think it'll be a tight race to the end, because all the drivers tonight looking real races. They all bump into the backs of each other through that little section there. I think I didn't quite see if there was any damage or anything.
Well, they didn't bump enough, luckily, because they'd have had a 5-second time penalty coming their way pretty quickly, as this game likes to do. Dan Morris really trying to get as much heat into those tyres as possible before the safety car comes in. When will he jump? Daniel P. Wheelnut taking a more Kimi Räikkönen approach here to tyre warming, not doing as much weaving, maybe just looking, waiting to make that pounce on Dan Morris. When will Dan Morris go? Will he seems to have gone now? Dan Morris now seems to have gone, and it looks like he's, he seems to have got a decent jump here. Theo Hickman, seems to have stuck with this pack, and Neljak seems to be the closest between these four, with Sayers Sports really far behind now. So it looks like it's going to be the top four here who are going to be competing. Daniel P. Wheelnut nowhere near him enough to try and make a move into turn one, but can he get the slipstream into turn four? Technically turn four, I believe, but no, all Linus Stern here is 3-second time penalty goes Kaya's way for corner cutting, I'd imagine. And Theo Hickman now all over the back of Daniel P. Wheelnut.
Yeah, off that restart, obviously the front four, they all got around a 5/10 gap between each other. Wheelnut just ran a little bit wide going into that turn there, and it's allowed Theo to have a little bit of a run. He's burning his ERS to try and catch up to the back of him now, and it looks like it's doing the job. So is he going to try and have a run into this corner or on the exit potentially? He's burning it, and he goes to the outside, and he just doesn't go late enough on the brakes for that. Probably better safe than sorry that way, but he's going to have another attempt here, as he's got another better run at Daniel Wheelnut, and he just had to back off slightly going into this, and he's just tapped the back of Wheelnut there, and I think we're just going to follow him round, and he might have another attack down the start finish straight.
Yeah, so Theo Hickman looking really racy here as we're riding on board with him at the moment on the back of Daniel P. Wheelnut. Neljak dropping back a little bit here. Obviously we don't have DRS for the first 2 laps after the safety car restart, so we're not going to see DRS until lap 16, and he's going for it. Theo Hickman's going for it up the inside here. Does he give him plenty of room? And Daniel P. Wheelnut has to go onto the grass to get out of that one. Didn't give him enough room, in my opinion, but Daniel P. Wheelnut now, is he going to try and return on him here? He thinks better of it. That cool head on Daniel P. Wheelnut is not going to go blazing into turn 4 here, but he is now down into 3rd place, and Theo Hickman up into 2nd. Can he drop that gap of 2.1 seconds? Sorry, what are you seeing there, Sean?
Sorry, I just saw Theo ride over the curb there, and I know it can spit you out, so I was waiting for him to go off, and this fight has allowed Dan Morris to get a 2.4 second lead.
Daniel P. Wheelnut now actually coming back at Theo Hickman. He's going to go to the outside on those hard tyres. Can he get the move done here into the chicane? He's got it around him now. Daniel P. Wheelnut back up into 2nd place, but can Theo Hickman get the better drive out of this chicane here? Is he going to burn some ERS? Seems like he's too far back. Don't do anything stupid here, Theo. There's plenty of time left in this race. We're on lap 15. There's a yellow flag in sector 3. M. Shepard's retired.
Another safety car.
Sean? Safety car. My goodness me.
Yeah, I think it was coming through that quick chicane, and I think he's just gone onto the curb, and it spat him out, and he's probably just lost a tyre or something.
And we have somebody looked like they were going into the pits. It's Lewis Craig now into the pits. Is he considering the soft tyre here, Sean?
Well, differently to the other safety car, I think this is a better move he could have done. He's got 4 or 5 laps to get to the end, and he's going to be on the soft tyres, which are a lot faster at this track. And he's come out, he's only lost 3 positions, I think, and Maya Quimby doing the same, and Kaya potentially doing the same as well.
So we're going to see. Oh no, Lewis Craig gets another time penalty.
Oh, under the safety car.
Penalty. Under the safety car, I'd imagine he's just gone over a corner or something. I don't know what's happened there, but
yeah, just
lack of concentration to do it under safety car, unfortunately. So that's his race potentially ruined there. Not sure how many what the time penalty numbers are here. I know that I've got the flag on there for the time penalties, but I haven't got the actual times, so it'd be good to understand. But
Lewis Craig has got 9 seconds worth of penalties.
9 seconds, yeah, that's not gonna be good for him. He's gonna be coming out 10th position at the moment.
It doesn't look like the reigning champion has performed at his best this race, but he'll be hoping to do better at the second race of tonight.
Well, as our fearsome leader Dom always says, if you don't want the time, don't do the crime. And that has been the case here in Australia for a lot of the drivers from 5th downwards almost, except for Red Bull Kim, who's running a relatively clean race up in 7th here. This is a good performance from him considering where he was in qualifying. So good on you, Red Bull Kim. And welcome back to TGP2 in Season 35. For this, the safety car will go around for another lap here as the drivers are trying to get back into the crocodile. Kaya coming down that corner, he's going to get to the back of the train relatively quickly, and I hope the safety car comes in this lap because we want to see some good racing. We were seeing some great racing, and yeah, it just keeps getting stopped by the safety car, Sean.
Yeah. So, if it comes in this lap, we've got, what is it, 3 racing laps left?
It's not going to happen. Kaya's going in for another pit stop here.
Oh. He might retire. He normally comes in when he's retiring, but no.
No, looks like he's going on to another set of soft tyres here. And a wing change. So...
But, yeah, I'm not sure how the tyres will fare right now, because what if we had 3 safety cars and, like, that was after the pit stops?
Yeah, we've had 3 safety cars after the pit stop window, from what I understand. Well, actually, Daniel P. Wheelnut came in for the pits
on the same lap
as did Dan Morrison. Yeah, it was Lewis Craig who stayed out. So yeah, we're not going to see the safety car in this lap, I don't think, unless the game's going to force it because there's 3 laps to go. So.
Yeah. We've got the same front 4 that we did at the last safety car restart, so these guys might try and stick a bit closer together and get the jump a bit better, because Dan Morris managed to catch them all out a little bit, really, and then Say Sports, we know, dropped off by about 1.5 seconds. So they'll all be wanting to just stay as close as possible and avoid these incidents, and we do have a safety car in this lap, thank God.
Thank God indeed, as the game has forced it. It's not going to wait for Kaya to catch up this time. But I'd imagine he's going to catch up anyway, as he's only 8 seconds down the road from Meyer Quemby. So we're going to ride on board here with Daniel P. Wheelnut, again taking that Kimi Raikkonen approach to tyre warming. Dan Morris going the complete polar opposite end and really working those tyres to get them as hot as possible. Can Daniel P. Wheelnut stay with Dan Morris here as we're seeing the safety car rounding the last few corners? Gotta be careful that we don't rear end each other here, as you have a time penalty coming your way and probably some wing damage as well. So Dan Morris really backing up the pack here, and it seems he's gone again, and Daniel P. Wheelnut seems to have been caught sleeping a little bit there, but he seems to have got a much better drive than Dan Morris and looks much closer now coming through the final corner. Can he challenge here on the back of Dan Morris? He looks like he's got a perfect start. Dan Morris moves to the inside. Daniel P. Wheelnut will try to go around the outside. He thinks better of it and does the cut back under to get a better drive into turn 2. Now he's going to have a go. He's going to go to the outside. Is he? He switches to the inside. Dan Morris is squeezing him. Daniel P. Wheelnut will not brake late enough, as he just feared that he was going to be cut off there by Dan Morris. But Daniel P. Wheelnut getting a great start here, Sean.
Yeah, he did exactly what he wanted to do, and he's burning the ERS right now, so I think he wants to make this move and be in the lead for the remainder of this race, and he's pushing so hard. And he's catching right up to the back of Dan Morris here, and he has to go down to the inside of this corner. It's so close. And he manages to keep alongside, and he's going to try and copy the move that he did round the side of Theo Hickman.
My goodness me, we're on board with Daniel P. Wheelnut, and there was some contact there. Nothing too bad, though, but Dan Morris has got that 3-second time penalty. Theo Hickman is on the back here as well. Will Daniel P. Wheelnut make a move? No, he thinks better off it, and he knows that he just has to stay in front of Theo Hickman. Dan Morris just has to stay within 3 seconds of him, and he's going to take the win off track here on the final standings here. I was on board with Meyer Quemby as they were going 3 wide into that chicane just before the second DRS zone, but we quickly switched over to this fight here as Daniel P. Wheelnut, can he actually make a move on track to get in front of Dan Morris? He's cautious, he's got a calm head on him, it's a long season and plenty of opportunities to make the move here, but just staying back at the moment, Sean.
Yeah, he don't really have to worry. All he has to do is make sure he can defend off from Theo Hickman. Behind him has just got his own time penalty, but just by I think he spun the tyres a little bit and he just managed to go over that little curb there. And this is brilliant for Daniel Wheelnut and Neljak. Like, two of the only drivers in the field without a penalty. They're just going to get first and second.
Yeah, it's great for them. It'll be interesting to know how many warnings Daniel P. Wheelnut and Neljak are on to see if they're close to getting a 3-second time penalty. But all they have to do now is just drive cleanly, stay within the 3 seconds. There's only 2 laps remaining of this race. There's no DRS currently as well. There might be DRS on the final lap, but it won't be enough really to shake up the order. Judging by the gaps here, as oh my goodness, Dan Morris looked like he had a swapper there. But no doing. Lewis Craig now, he's making a move on Mr. John. He makes that move round the outside on those soft tyres, and he's up to 7th place. Not sure what the penalties are. Red Bull Kim down in 10th, nearly 3 seconds behind IoT Kaya. Will he be able to gain some positions after the standings are all settled? But Daniel P. Wheelnut on course now to take the win in Australia, in Melbourne, at Albert Park, as Meyer Quemby sets the fastest lap in the race with a 1:19.9, and Lewis Craig beats that by 2/10. So he's looking racy, Lewis Craig. He's going to be on the back of Meyer Quemby here anytime
right on the
soon.
back
So
of
we're going to switch
Sports.
to that. And he's on the back of Sayer Sports, my goodness me. So Lewis Craig, is he going to try it around the outside? Does Sayer Sports give him the room? Yes, he does, and Lewis Craig is now up to 6th place. He looks like he's too far back to be able to make a challenge on Meyer Quemby, but that's Lewis Craig making a recovery drive up to 6th place, and Daniel P. Wheelnut now dropping that second behind. He's not bothered about taking the win on the track. He knows he's going to take the win, provided he keeps away from that corner cutting and that 3-second time penalty. He's going to take this, so he just has to cruise at home now. Cruise at home all the way. He has raced a good race, in my opinion. What about you, Sean?
Yeah, everyone through that chicane tonight has had my heart in my mouth, as they all love riding this curve, and it could easily just spit them out. And I thought Daniel Wheelnut there was just going to get a penalty or something, as he did ride quite a lot of the track. But he's managed to have a clean race, and as they both come around the final corner now, Dan Morris is going to finish first on track, but thanks to a 3-second time penalty, Daniel Wheelnut is going to take the victory here at Melbourne. And the other person is Neljak, who only manages to get 3rd place, so Dan Morris doing just enough to get himself that 2nd place on the podium.
Yes, so there you go. Daniel P. Wheelnut takes the win in our opening round in Melbourne. Dan Morris, after penalties, in 2nd place, with Neljak coming across the line in 3rd and Theo Hickman in 4th. Meyer Quemby in 5th with Mr. John in 6th. And I just ran out of the order then, unfortunately. But I'll do a proper full rundown when the results are posted up on the screen in a minute. Mr. John does take our 6th place here, and Lewis Craig takes the driver of the day here. After that brilliant recovery drive, good strategy as well to get him back up the order there. And I think he ended up in 4th place as well, so that's a decent recovery drive. But this is the man we're talking about at the moment. It's Daniel P. Wheelnut, one of our championship contenders from season 34. He starts off his season to a strong start here, taking that 1st position ahead of Dan Morris, Theo Hickman, was it? Who had those penalties. So great start for him, and he'll be very happy with that, Sean.
Yeah, it's a good result for the likes of Wheelnut and Neljak, who obviously didn't have the penalties. Lewis Craig having quite a poor race today with a few questionable strategy calls, and then the 9 seconds worth of penalties. It was never going to do him any favours with the 3 safety cars that we had that race. But he did manage to take the fastest lap, so that's an extra point towards his tally.
Indeed, so we'll quickly run down your order. So Daniel P. Wheelnut taking that win. 25 points on the board for him, with Dan Morris in 2nd and Neljak in 3rd, rounding out your podium. And then we have Theo Hickman in 4th, with Meyer Quemby in 5th, Mr. John in 6th. Sayer Sports in 7th, with Lewis Craig on that recovery drive in 8th, with 9 seconds worth of penalties, and Red Bull Kim in 9th. A good return result for him, getting some points on the board, with IoT Kaya rounding out your top 10. And then we have M. Shep in 11th, Paul McGee in 12th, Jack Craig in 13th, and Czech Race rounding out your order in 14th. 4 DNFs in this race from multiple incidents. We had 3 safety cars as well to contend with here. And yeah, it's just... it was quite a chaotic race, but it was a good one to watch in the end.